Twisha Christian. Today I want to discuss with you guys how long will it take for the gold standard to be implemented. Right, so there's a lot of issues surrounding that, and I was just doing some research. I'm here on the government Congress website, Bill HR 2558. It was a bill that was introduced to go back to the gold standard, right? And I think many of you, maybe you've already heard this before, but one of the things that I wanted to discuss was in the end of it. This link will be down below in the description if you guys want to look at the whole entire thing. But one of the things that I was thinking about is, how is returning to some type of gold standard work? Now, I believe that the gold standard, of course, it's not going to be 100% backed by gold. I think it's going to be multi-resourced or, whatever they come up with. But one of the things that I see in here and how it relates to the dinar RV, our fiat system, and it says here in section 2, define the dollar in terms of gold. Effective 30 months after the date of this enactment of this act, the Secretary of Treasury, in this act referred to as the Secretary, shall define the dollar in the terms of fixed weight of gold, based on that day's closing market price of gold, and the Federal Reserve Bank shall make Federal Reserve notes exchangeable with gold at statutory gold definition of the dollar. Okay, and it says here on the disclosure of holdings in Section 3, during the 30-month period following the date of the enactment of this act, the United States government shall take timely and reasonable steps to disclose all of its holdings of gold, together with a contemporaneous report of any United States purchases or sales, thus enhancing the ability of the market and of the market participants to arrive at a fixed dollar gold parity in an orderly fashion. Okay, which the last part of this means that they just have to disclose all of their gold within this 30-month period. So effective 30 months after this date, which means that's about 2.5 years. So let's say if this bill was enacted tomorrow, by the end of 30 months, then that particular dollar now, which would be a gold-backed dollar, which is backed by percentage of gold, by the end of the 30 months, it shall define the dollar in terms of a fixed weight of gold. All right, so what's going to happen during this time period? Because we talked about in other videos, in my past videos, we discussed, when is the gold standard going to be announced? And is it going to be announced at the time of the dinar, at the beginning of the global currency reset? Is it going to be announced later? And one of the things as I was doing my research, the reason why it's going to take 30 months, there's a lot of contracts out there that are based off of our fiat system. So a lot of those contracts have to be honored. And during that time period, you'll have two different dollars, right? You'll have the fiat dollar, and then you'll have the gold-backed dollar. And they'll be exchangeable for a certain amount of time. When they reintroduce this gold-backed currency into the fiat system, right, or to go along side by side with the fiat system, because it's going to take time to actually change over to the new economy or the new monetary system. They have to reintroduce gold as money, and they don't want the economy to go into shock. But they also have to honor the outstanding contracts, U.S. government to its bondholders. And then not only that, this system has to be trusted. The system has to be trusted by the people. So in order to even get to that point, the first thing is you have to convince the American people that going to a gold standard, or whatever standard that includes gold that they're going to have to convince most of America to be able to do it. One of the other issues is that you're going to have to start printing gold-backed currency, or just, I know that there are works in for a digital dollar, but maybe that digital dollar might have to do with the gold, might have to do with the fiat, but I know that the system will probably run side by side. So you have to think about, so if they don't announce, if the dinar RVs in the global currency reset begins, right, without any type of gold standard announcement, that tells me that whenever they do go to a gold-backed system, that a lot of these fiat currencies will be going side by side, because if most of the world is going to a gold-backed system, how are they going to implement it? It can't be all digital, because there are so many rural places that people don't have access to internet and phones. You're still talking, millions upon millions of people all over the world. So you're still going to have some type of paper currency. So this paper currency is going to be something that's going to be backed by this note is backed by gold. Every country is going to have to print, or should I say almost every country is going to have to print. Right now, the way that I look at it, as far as Iraq, they still only have 96 tons of gold. They've had the same amount of gold for a very long time, so they haven't bought any. And right now, with the way oil prices are, even if they did go to a gold-backed system, they really don't have a lot of gold, not compared to a lot of other countries that's going to give them a value of $3 per dinar. So I'm looking at this, will the gold standard, when the United States announces that they're going to a gold standard, and maybe some other countries are going to a gold standard, how is that going to affect the fiat system? Because if the dinar RVs now, without any type of a new monetary system announced, then that tells me that the fiat system, say for instance, I've always believed that the dinar, even when it does change in value, say if everybody gets it at $3 per dinar, and then we announce that we're going to a gold-backed system, say 6 months later, how's that going to affect the value of the dinar? So I don't think the dinar will always be at $3, even if they get the oil back up and going and everything. Because Trump said that a lot of the currency is going to be at an even playing field. So eventually, at some point, a lot of the currencies will level out. So it doesn't mean that's going to happen immediately, right, with the global currency reset, because you're going to have changes come when they go to a gold standard. And all of this, it remains to be seen. So tell me what you guys think. Will we see a gold-backed currency go side by side with a fiat dollar, and maybe the same with other currencies? It's not to say that this is going to actually take 2.5 years to implement, because this is just, their plan. Now, of course, they could come up with a system that only takes 6 months, a year, but one of the major reasons is because of any outstanding contracts that are out there. Government contracts, company contracts, and how all that's going to play into transferring over to the gold-backed system. And if we don't see any type of announcement of a gold-backed system, if the dinar is at $3 per dinar, will the gold standard affect that value? And how much time do we have before, that value actually goes down? And how long are you going to hold on to any of your dinar currency? I'm pretty sure most of you are probably going to get it exchanged at least within the first few weeks. And what does this do to the Federal Reserve? This whole economy, the whole banking system, it's going to change. We just don't know exactly how things are going to play out. And yet, we're still not at a point to where if the President of the United States starts talking about a gold-backed system, right now people still don't see a need for that. And that's why I think where the banking system comes to a crash is really going to play a part in going to a gold-backed system. So maybe we will see the dinar RV and then a bank crash. Right? Then we go to a new system, and then all the fiat currency is side by side, and you're able to exchange maybe for a certain amount of time before the fiat completely goes away. And I think their plan is, this system will take 30 months to put in place and to be able to get rid of the fiat system. I don't know, you guys tell me what you think. I may be completely wrong or off. If I am wrong about anything, please correct me down below in the description. So folks, we're still in there. There's still a lot going on. Still a lot of things that we still have not seen yet. And I think that with us going to a new system, It's not going to be something that happens instantaneously. Whenever the global currency reset starts, if there is no announcement of any going to another economic type of system, and if there is no banking crash before the dinar, if the banking system has not crashed before the global currency reset starts, then we really need to be aware and ready, and to make sure that whatever financial holdings that you have, that they are protected. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. And I appreciate you guys for listening. And with that being said, Twisted Christian out.